The Department of Justice yesterday afternoon released this 13-page reason why they cannot release this affidavit. Can you comment on that? Why they would feel that it would compromise their investigation?
Absolutely. It's a two-pronged reason, and it's inherent in all search warrants and affidavits that you would file as a law enforcement officer. In this case, the first reason is that affidavit was laid out for a judge to see the entirety of the case, the legal strategy that the prosecution, or in this case, the government, is laying out in a potential criminal investigation and prosecution. So to reach the burden for a search warrant, you have to reveal to that judge all the details of what you know, what you're looking at and who you're looking at. And it would be very detrimental to that case to turn that over to people who that investigation is not complete yet. So to turn it over to people who are being investigated to see what the government or the investigators already understand about the auspices of the case, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, there was just a couple of things that they said. I thought they were quite detailed, saying that this would do irreparable harm. It would have a chilling effect on witnesses.
There will be sources or witnesses, and in this case, the actual the release materials indicates that there is at least one witness who has provided information. The affidavit that they're asking to be released would go into much more great detail. It might not reveal the actual name of the witness or witnesses, but it would have some identifiability. It would be able to narrow it down to who that person or those persons are. And that would have a chilling effect if there is a prosecution or a trial, because those people's identities have now been outed and revealed.
hmm I want to talk to you about some of these online threats. These threats are more violent and have spiked. You said how shocked you were. Can you tell me a bit more about that?
Working in law enforcement, I was with the FBI for 22 years. There's always an element of threats, but it's usually very specific. It has to do with who or what you're investigating at that time. This has a different feel to it. If you look at the rhetoric that's coming out online, this isn't about, hey, somebody did something and now I'm angry about it. The actual threats and the rhetoric we're seeing here from the ADL, our analysts, are kill every FBI employee, murder their families, hang them, go after the judges, burn the judges. This is a level of violence, even if it's just rhetoric or some aspirational ideas. We haven't seen this before against such a wide swath of law enforcement. It's very unnerving. It's involving people's families. And we're seeing in some cases, the efforts are being made online in some of these extremist chat rooms to identify where these people live, where their children go to school, and make that public knowledge. To the best of my recall, don't remember this ever being to this level before.
It is shocking, and this is all because of an FBI search. It must be terribly scary for people like you and other people who are just doing your job.
There are parties who are trying to light a match. And just because you are implying or being coy about saying somebody should do something, this is an outrageous piece. We're seeing leaders from both parties, but specifically from the right, using words like civil war, like destroy this institution. They absolutely understand what that means to certain segments, especially in extremist circles. They are lighting a match, putting it to the powder keg, and then stepping back and saying, but I didn't say anything wrong. And that's irresponsible, and it's very dangerous.
Can you tell me a bit about that Pennsylvania man? I understand that they unsealed documents about him.
I think this is a perfect case in point. And from my understanding from speaking with my former colleagues and what has been out in the media, this is a man in the Pennsylvania area who is making threats against FBI employees for a long time, months, if not years beforehand. But right after the Mar-a-Lago raid, that ratcheted up quite a bit to where he was very open about, I want to kill people. I want to kill FBI employees. I'm willing to die to kill other FBI employees. So you can see where this one event and the rhetoric that came out from some public figures after that is sending a signal to people like this. And it's answering that signal, they are in some cases trying to commit violence.
Is there anything else you can tell me about the threats out there? What is happening right now?
In this case, the response to the level of threats, when I talk again to my former colleagues and to law enforcement in general, they're very disturbed because you're watching something, and whether it's a comment on the state of the country or the divide that is rapidly growing instead of shrinking as it should be, they're very, very concerned because the span, this isn't about certain individuals. This is kill, hurt, maim, die. And this is in the public spectrum. It's in the media. It's public leaders implying or overtly saying these words. So we haven't seen it before. We haven't seen the volume ever in this country. We haven't seen the direction. Unless we forget, we have events which we're always concerned about coming up, particularly the November election cycle. This divide is going to get even greater. And I'm very concerned, as are my former colleagues who are in law enforcement, with what we're going to see and the level of violence we're expected to occur during this event.